Okay, Tony, your box arrived today, so we're going to get you unpacked and have a close look at your watch, and then we will determine how to proceed from there. Okay, very cool. All right, let's have a close look at what we got here. Okay, so this is a 1972 March 6105 8110 diver. Very cool. All right, well, first assessment is beautiful, beautiful watch, of course. Really like these. Of course, I'm biased. This is really nice. I think we have a loose, well, we can always talk about that. Let's get there first. Hold on. All right, so I'm gonna actually go ahead and just take off your strap, and that way we can do our assessment without so much of this in place. Give me one moment. Okay, so there we go. All right, so this looks like a very nice original watch. You have evidence of wear and use, but certainly hasn't been abused. Got some minor edge, scratching here and along this corner. It looks to me as though your pip has its glass, but I believe the glass has become loose, and we can tighten that down with some binder, which is what generally holds these in place. You have a long sweep second, so that's a transitional sweep. So these are, I have one of the same era, and they went from a longer sweep like this, where the sweep second hand extends all the way to the edge of the marker, to one that's shorter. And so you can see on my watch the slightly shorter sweep hand is there. I'm not sure you can see that clearly, but that's the way that goes. You have a little bit of darkening on some spots here. We can try and clean that up on the metal. There's not much I can do in the loom, but certainly we can try and make that look a little bit better. Your crown locks, that's always nice. Horseshoe back case, so that's cool. You've got some minor scratching here from tooling that's present. I only review this sort of cosmetics just to be sure that we both know where we're starting from at the beginning here. We're going to get your case cleaned up. We're going to get your bezel cleaned up. Your insert is just gorgeous. It's really nice. It's in very good shape. No real marring. You got one little scratch here and a couple little dents and dings, but otherwise a really solid example. Your bezel seal is of course very dry, so that's loose, but you do have your click ball, so that's nice. I'm going to see if I can get the case back off just very quickly here to see if we can get into the watch to have a look. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. Sometimes it takes a little bit of effort to get to these. All right, so let's look and see what the service history might be. Doesn't show anything on the inside here. Although your movement is nice and clean. You've got the chamfered edge 6105 B movement. This is a hacking movement, of course. Got Got a little bit of looseness in there, but nothing too bad. I don't see any real. You got very, very little, small amount of brassing, which comes from this weight kind of rubbing up against this part of the movement. But otherwise, you know, it's in good shape. Let's check what you can see, though. You see this bit of brass right here on your barrel, just along the edge. That's from your barrel sort of clicking against this bridge because you have a loose mainspring arbor. Yeah, it's pretty worn. Oh yeah, woo-wee. You can see that screw there. That screw head should be solid as a rock. When I move this around, it's okay for the barrel to move a little bit. There's a slight bit of lash in there, but that screw head should stay still. So that means we need to do your arbor ports for sure. Okay, so let's, hairspring looks pretty good at first glance. Your balance is looking pretty flat. So I'm going to put some power in the watch directly, and then we're going to go ahead and look at it on the time grapher and see where we are. All right, oops, so give me 1 second. Okay, Tony, well, here are your starting numbers. You know, this is quite good. I mean, you're definitely in need of a service. This is, but let me talk about what's good, and let me talk about what isn't so great. And honestly, it's not terrible. Okay, so rate and beat error are adjustments. Okay, so you can dial this in to be 0 seconds per day plus or minus 2 seconds. That's, you know, generally the sort of range of reliability in terms of how many seconds per day. You know, these are good hardy movements. They're things that can be adjusted out, and if you get things right, then you can get it to within that spec. A little bit better, you know, depending on the state of the movement, how long it's been used, or if there's, you know, any damage to any of the pivots or anything like that. So this is something we can always adjust. Beat error, you're in perfect adjustment. This is where they should be, 0 beat error. The beat error just measures the tick-tock, and that tick and tock should happen in a synchronous way about the center of the pivot of your lever escapement. So it just means that if it's not 0, it's a little bit out. Tick and tock are a little bit out of sync with each other. But yours is perfect. And again, this is just an adjustment. We can alter that. The amplitude is the number that we want to see somewhere in for these movements, 230 to 250-ish. You know, is a well-serviced and a movement that's in really great shape. That will be the sort of range that you're in. I always try and push all the movements to be above 230. If we get to 250, that is amazing. That means everything is really tight and really good. But you know, older movements that have not seen a lot of service over their lifetime will have slight variations that get them, you know, somewhere in the 230 to 240 range. That's sort of where I expect things to fall. As you can see, you're here at 173. That's not ideal. It means your watch needs service. I looked under your cap jewels of your balance. You don't have any lubrication. So this is an unlubricated movement. Basically, all of the lubrication has become volatile or sticky over time, and it's taking power away from the train of wheels. And so it's essentially a question of how much friction we can eliminate to get that number up. However, the signal itself is clean and uniform. You don't see sporadic jumping of these points. These are 2 points, tick and tock, and the closer they are together, of course, the closer that is to 0. But the fact that this is a nice continuous line of points and these numbers are fairly static, you know, you're getting a few second variation, that's great. That's what we want to see. That's where we want to start. So we're starting in a good spot. Certainly a service spot, but definitely a good one. Okay, we'll come back. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to go ahead and send you this video, and you let me know if there's anything you want me to specially to do. Of course, we're going to do all the service, and we're going to do a little bit of repair here to get this glass back into place. I think it's just dropped down. It should pop out when we take this this bezel off. Going to rebuild your crown. Going to, of course, do the service on the movement, put all the new gaskets and everything everywhere. So we're going to get started. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, thanks, Tony.